honestly didn't think that many people would be on today because I didn't even give a time or anything. Just been in my own zone a bit today, which I think is on account of this moon. Let's just see if anyone else joins. Hope you've either been having a good day today. This moon, it's very earthy, so I've been feeling like just grounding all day today. Being in my own little bubble. I actually wasn't sure if I was even going to come and do this because this moon feels like it's just calling us inwards. So it's going to be a little bit different today. I'm not going to actually do a full ritual or anything. I'm just going to discuss and and just share my feelings about the energy of this moon. Hopefully it will help you in some way. So yeah, obviously this is a new moon. It's in the sign of Virgo, and it feels like this entirely new beginning, like a fresh start. And I feel like there is new beginnings that are going to be coming in for us as we move through the month ahead as well, and in the months that are coming up as well. I feel like this is kind of like a shift, a turning point where we're at right now. And yeah, like the numerology of this moon is 5 as well, which is all these themes of shifting and changing and transition, and that's kind of like where I feel we're at right now. It's almost like we are on the right path, but now we just have to check in to make sure that anything else that needs to be shifted or changed or removed, for us to make space for all the things that we need to invite in. Like we need to make sure we're looking at all those things, because I feel like there's still things that may be holding us back a little bit, or maybe where we're not fully giving ourselves to the things that we're trying to manifest or trying to do in our work or in our lives. And so just kind of being really real with ourselves in that sense. I feel like we've got this opportunity to really ground into like a new reality. And I think that up until like the last few weeks, I've even seen it in a lot of people that everyone's kind of got this new sense of like drive and motivation to kind of push forwards with things that they were working towards. And that, I think that was the lead up to this new moon, so that now we can be really clear on what intentions we want to put in place, what goals we want to work towards, and making sure that they're in alignment with what feels nurturing to our soul. Because the other thing that comes up with this moon, and actually the whole of Virgo season, is balance. And that's a balance that we have within us. And I think that it's definitely related to our work as well. Like how much are we putting out of our energy? Like how much are we pouring into things, and are we actually pouring any of that into ourselves as well? I've definitely felt called like the last couple of weeks to really focus on what lights me up and what makes me feel nurtured and comforted, and actually taking my focus away from the external a little bit more. And I think in that space is where we get a lot more clarity with what we actually need, and what parts of our lives and what we're doing are actually serving us as well as serving others in a way. I feel like we have to get really clear on our goals under this new moon as well, because especially in terms of work, purpose, life venture, wherever it is that we're at, because it's kind of like the start of this period of really just putting our all into something, and this notion of dedication and hard work, and really pushing forward with that. So without being really clear and knowing that we have a good sense of balance in place, we need to make sure that we have that, otherwise we're going to kind of lose our way a little bit. And also, like I say, keep pouring into something that maybe isn't really resonating or isn't aligned with what we actually want to be doing. So it's sort of like asking ourselves questions like, what needs to change? What can I do differently? How can I see things differently? And just kind of reflecting on these things, and also any changes that have taken place. Have you integrated into the new ways of thinking or doing things? Have you found acceptance for changes that have happened maybe out of your control, and are you still trying to work with what you've got and move forward, or are you sort of stuck and hung up on things from the past? And again, like, the past thing is something that comes up because we're also in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde, as that's coming up in September 9th, I believe it begins. So the idea of balance, I think, also is highlighted in terms of our relationships and just communication in general, because we create balance when we are sharing authentically and speaking our truth and not suppressing things and stuff like that. So it's also about checking in with that. Is there things that are left unresolved or unsaid that need to sort of be removed from your system and your body and shared and released in a way? Because I think also when we're carrying stuff, we're carrying emotions, we're carrying thoughts and feelings that we need to get out, that all clouds our mind as well. So this need to right now make really grounded choices and actionable goals is harder to do when we have all of this other mental fog that going on at the same time. So yeah, it's about clearing that as well, which is why I think we're being called inwards with this moon, because when we remove all the distractions outside of us and all the external sort of demands and everything like that, that's when we get that clarity of mind within ourselves to know, okay, this is what I need to do, this feels good for me right now, and just following our intuition with that, because I do think it is very much an intuitive moon as well in that sense, because it's really about listening to ourselves and knowing how to nurture ourselves in the best way so that we can be at our best, perform at our best, and give in a way that doesn't deplete us as well, which I think is really important. I said in my blog, which I wrote up about this moon, I drew one of my cards, which was the King of Earth, and it was really aligned, the message of that card, with this moon. And one of the things that it said was, can we take a methodical approach without becoming too controlling? And I think that really highlights the energy of this moon as well, because Virgo is really about having organisation and planning and just being clear on everything in that way, but it can become a more controlling thing if we go too far with that. So again, it's this sense of needing balance, because yes, we need to be methodical, we need to be practical and have, that kind of approach to our goals and objectives that we have, but we also need to surrender at the same time. We can't control everything. So it's about, again, that idea of faith and being able to say, okay, these are my goals and these are my intentions, but actually at which point can I step back and let go a little bit, but still know that I'm on track, without having full control. So yeah, it's kind of finding that middle ground where there's that sort of harmonic energy between the push and pull, the give and take, and I think that's a real core focus that's coming up with this moon. yeah, again, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, I think that's the main thing. So yeah, just getting in tune with our bodies, what feels good for us. Like it feels very homely and yeah, sort of connecting with ourselves. I think also the whole stepping into ourselves and away from the external, that's the other thing I wanted to mention, is the how other people's judgments or perceptions influence our own. And I think it's only when we step away and break away from that a little bit for a longer period of time that we realise actually there's a lot of stuff that we're carrying that isn't our own, a lot of thoughts that we're thinking that actually we've just absorbed from other people, other places. And I think that's why, like, right now it's like, let's move away from that and figure out what it was really true to us right now. What do we really need? Yeah, and I keep hearing this message, you get out what you put in also. So it's about, yeah, putting in the work, but also putting that care and nurturing energy into ourselves as well. I pulled a card from my Kuan Yin Oracle actually earlier because I was thinking I wasn't feeling called to do ritual today. I think that I'm definitely going to recommend for you to write some goals and intentions, especially not even just for the month ahead, but I think like the next few months as you go towards the end of the year. So sort of slightly more longer term goals, because I think this is a really good moon to set those bigger goals in place as well. But yeah, so I wasn't going to really do a ritual, so I asked Kuan Yin to give me a message or an idea of something that we might want to do instead. So the card I drew was this one, which says spin the silken thread divine. And actually it's really aligned with everything that kind of I've been talking about. So I'm going to actually read this to you guys right now. It says your past is calling to you. It's calling to be cleared, to be released, and for the beauty and power of the past to be claimed in the present moment, woven together like a precious rare silk. All the experiences, mistakes, adventures, and successes of your past in this and other lifetimes have given your soul plenty of material from which to draw its wisdom. Like fine silken threads being woven into a beautiful fabric, it has had to grow in awareness, light, capacity, and love in order to be where it is now. You are being guided by Kuan Yin now to realize that your past is nothing to be ashamed of. Even the worst mistakes that you may have judged yourself or others for have been opportunities to really grow in love. The precious silk could not be formed without the rough layers of the cocoon within which the pure thread is spun by the silkworm. So too have you been able to weave something truly beautiful within the experiences of your life, even those which you no longer need to carry with you as memories or scars. There comes a time to extract the pure thread and cast aside that which is unusable. You are at a point where you must choose to empty out old emotional baggage and take forward with you the gifts, skills, wisdom, and talents that you have developed throughout many lifetimes, so you may move forward into the new cycle that is calling you forward. Sometimes that can feel unfamiliar and cause us anxiety, as we do not have the old emotional or behavioural patterns to hold on to. Yet there is no need to be fearful of this process, because as you release the old, a beautiful new patterning will be emerging from within you. And I really love that, because I feel like that is exactly where we're at with this new moon as well. It's like what like in that way, what from the past are we still carrying? What programming from the past is actually governing or guiding the choices that we're making right now, or the path that we are moving along? And with that, I think it's also about looking at, okay, what processes and approaches have we been using towards life, work, whatever it is, and actually, like, if they're not working, maybe it's time to change things, to do things differently. And I think that is where, like she mentions there, that fear can come in, because we get so attached to our old ways because they're so deeply programmed into us that we almost feel like we're kind of just out in the open when we try to do something a new way. But ultimately, if we don't change things that are not working, then we're just going to be stuck exactly where we are, which obviously is just not serving to us anyway. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of reflection and a lot of realizations, I think, that are going to be coming if we tap into this and really sit with ourselves. I think when we reach the full moon, a lot is going to become clear to us. So I'm going to just pull a few cards for us. So I'm just going to say I'm getting like Tower, the Fool, the Moon. It's so interesting because it is like, I feel like this whole new journey that's beginning. Like, although there's just the start of a new moon cycle and kind of just at this random point within the year, it does feel like a very big new beginning. And that's why we need to be very, very clear on where we're headed, because this is our opportunity to make sure we are going exactly where we want to be going. And the Tower, again, like I spoke about this being the numerology of this moon being 5, and that being all about change and shifting and transitioning, and this sorry, it's actually next to the 5 of Cups too, which again, oh my gosh, I didn't even realise this, so sorry. It's 5 of Pentacles and 5 of Cups next to each other, next to the Tower, which is literally just reinforcing that message of complete shift and change. Like, but if we don't let go of the past, detach ourselves from that programming, conditioning, situations, then it's going to the changes that happen are going to feel harder. We're going to resist, we're going to pull back, instead of just opening ourselves up to possibilities. When we open up to change, we open up to possibilities. So instead of fearing it, we can see that there's actually so much room for magic and new things and new experiences that can come into our lives. I think what's holding a lot of people back in terms of just doing what needs to be done and making those changes is fear in terms of money, finances, that side of things. That's something that's been coming up a lot. And I actually read a little bit for Virgo season the other day, and this was something that was highlighted throughout. The whole money thing is on everyone's mind at the moment, and I mean, it obviously makes sense with all the stuff that's happening in the world, and but that fear is like penetrating into our being, and actually we need to be able to stop that from holding us back from doing exactly what we need to do. We can't let the fear of that prevent us from doing what we need to do and being where we need to be. And the more that we trust that if we follow what's true to our heart and do whatever we're actually feeling called to within our soul, then we will always be okay, and all of that side of things will work itself out exactly as it needs to. So I think that's the hard part. That's the hard transition to make. It's just taking the plunge and trusting it, even if you don't feel like you have everything you need right now to get to where you want to go. But what I'm seeing is that like there's so many like restrictive thoughts that a lot of people are carrying right now. And it's just really like a wall. It's kind of just stopping us from just moving forward quickly and putting all of our ideas and gifts out into the world. And I think maybe there's a lack of like self-belief and stuff as well in that. But yeah, like I say, I feel like there's just this need for a fresh perspective, a new way of looking at things, and we might have to dig deep to find out what that is. But it's only going to be something that we find within ourselves. It's not something that we'll find outside of ourselves or learn from someone else. It's going to be deeply personal and individual for each of us, how we move through that. And I think that's why the moon is here, because I think now under this moon, like I say, we've got the opportunity to use that energy to find that sense of grounding and clarity that we need to set those goals and plans in place. So yeah, you might be feeling around this time like to physically organise in the sense of your space or your home, or things that maybe need to be sorted out and have been left for a while might just be popping up into your mind now to be like, oh, I need to sort that out, I need to organise that. And that's just a natural part, I think, of that reflection of the inner and outer worlds. So as we organise our environment, we also organise our mental and energetic space at the same time. So it's all important. So definitely just follow your intuition and feel into what you're called to do at the moment as well. There is this little healing prayer from the Kuan Yin card, so I'm going to share it with you now. If you want to do it, obviously you don't have to, but I'm going to read it anyway for you. So, it says, close your eyes and be aware of your heart space, with a soft silver light glowing within. Imagine you can travel within your heart, and within you sense a movement, a spinning of threads. Some are rough and broken, yet they hold a barrier in place so that within, great silky threads of pure light can be woven in an endless stream. Feel the preciousness and wonder of these threads. They are like the meridians of your soul being spun in your heart. Allow yourself to journey along these threads of light in your heart, where you eventually notice a spiral of many lights and colours representing the lifetimes and situations that you have encountered through your past in this lifetime and beyond. You become aware of Kuan Yin gently catching the threads of your soul and extracting them out of the rough cocoon, weaving them into an exquisite silk. Say aloud, through the grace of Kuan Yin and my own free will, I now unconditionally forgive and release the pain, shame, or blame that is holding me in past energies and preventing me from living my potential. I release this wholly and completely now, through all time and space and all dimensions of my being. Send love to her divine fingers, weaving your soul light into beautiful expression, and then say, I now choose to claim all past life talents, gifts and skills that are based in unconditional love into my present lifetime. I ask for this by the grace and compassion of Kuan Yin and my own free will in unconditional love and divine mercy. Send love with this intention once more. When you are ready, feel the lightness in your heart as your cocoon has been transformed into the most exquisite silken garment of light. Imagine it resting on your body and feel the beauty. When you are ready, open your eyes. So I hope that was nice for anyone who decided to join in with that. I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. But feel free to send me a message if you want to ask anything else. Yeah, and otherwise I will jump on for another moon meeting at the full moon in a couple of weeks. So have a good weekend, everyone, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care. You're welcome. Don't forget to set your intentions and write your goals down as well. See you soon, guys.